Well, hello, welcome back. It is, I think, week 5 now. And we are entering February, which is crazy to think about. It means I have a couple of Valentine's themed crafts that I'm going to try and organize for the kids to do the next coming weeks. Hopefully I actually accomplish those. Usually Valentine's Day gets kind of forgotten in the shuffle of things, so this year I'm hoping to do a couple things with the girls since they recognize hearts and they like pink and red, and it'd be fun to make some Valentines. But this week I had the special opportunity to do something I haven't been able to do in a long time, which was take photos. I did some engagement portraits for some dear friends who just recently got engaged, and it was so much fun to get out and do their pictures. The shoot was cut short a little bit because there were 3 children along at the park with us. So once the youngest was bored sitting in the stroller after about 15 minutes, then we had to cut it short, unfortunately. But we had beautiful snow, beautiful lighting, and I was just gonna show a couple of some of the highlights, but it was just absolutely beautiful, and the couple are absolutely beautiful too. Wonderful, wonderful time. I wish we'd had more time in the snow before we had to cut it short with the kids, but that was fun to get. Just one of my other hobbies that I don't usually get to experiment with now, to get to do that. It's been probably a year since I've done portraits for anyone outside of the immediate family. Usually I just take pictures of the kids, and it's very different taking pictures of toddlers and babies than it is taking pictures of grown adults who want to have their picture taken and actually listen to, kind of directions and don't get bored and wander off, or think it's funny to run forward and try to look at the camera. Not that my kids would ever look at camera. I don't know where I got that idea from. And then I also I went off plan, and instead of following, I have a list of, I don't know, probably 10 sewing projects that I have ready to do. I found a new free pattern from Little Lizard King and was instantly inspired to print it out and try sewing it. So I had this beautiful light green fabric with just a lovely simple floral design on it. I'd gotten it in a bundle from Fabric Mart, and it was one of those fabrics when I first saw it, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. Floral isn't usually what I prefer to wear, but this one, it's such a simple and sweet design. It's it doesn't look like Victorian wallpaper. Usually that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think floral, and that just seems too busy and too overbearing for my usual style. But this is very soft and very, very simple, and I like that the flowers are white with a yellow center. Any flower with yellow is instantly on my list of favorite flowers. So this dress, one of the things I loved about it when I first saw the pictures, it has a nice scoop neck, just basic and simple, and not too low. The bishop sleeves are just wonderful. I love how they're narrow at the top and then they just balloon out into these beautiful, beautiful draping folds towards the cuff, and it just feels so elegant when you're wearing it. And then it has a seam at the natural waist, which I had to add a couple extra inches and forgot to do that before I cut the fabric. So I cut another piece and ended up with a band around the waist. But then it's a half circle skirt, which means it drapes and flows beautifully, especially if you're using a fabric that does have a nice drape to it and just a lot of that fluid movement. And so that circle skirt, when you're wearing it, the skirt just falls in these beautiful ripples at the bottom, and it just is wonderful. It swishes as you walk, it twirls beautifully and doesn't go up too high because it's fitted at the hips. And so, new favorite dress pattern. I'm definitely going to be making another version. I have another knit that's been sitting around waiting for me to find a pattern that inspired me, so now I know what I'm going to sew with it. And so I will be making more of this pattern, and I'm excited for those. I also made, I don't have them with me right now because the girls have them and it's nap time, but I made some little heart-shaped hand warmers with a little bit of lavender inside them, especially after we go for a walk in the winter time. Their hands get cold, and so we use the little hand warmers just as a fun way to help them warm up their hands. Honestly, I don't know that they use them much for actually warming their hands. I think they're more used as bean bags and tossing them around. But they enjoy them, and it's one of our kind of nap time rituals. When they're getting ready for their nap, I heat up their little hand warmers, and so now instead of boring white ones, they have heart-shaped ones with pink and yellow fabric, and they think they're pretty fun. So those are my projects this week, which sounds like a lot, but just remember that what is easy for one person to do and what's fun for one person to do doesn't mean it's going to be fun for someone else. So these projects, I mean, making a new dress for me, that time was so much fun for me to do that in the evening. Well, my husband was playing video games and the kids were asleep, and I was able to get this done, and I think I finished it in, it might have taken me 2 evenings, but it was quick. For me, I would much rather spend my time doing that than go out and shop, which is why currently I desperately need clothes, because I haven't actually shopped for anything since I think before any of my kids were born, because in my mind I was thinking, oh, no sense buying new clothes, I'll wait until until I'm done having kids and see what my body, or until I'm after pregnancy and see what my body returns to. And now I have the opportunity to sew my clothes, and I'm finding that I enjoy that a lot more than going out and trying on clothes and trying to find things I like, because I just don't enjoy shopping like that usually. Thrift store shopping is fun, but you have to have the time to, you know, peruse and sort through everything, and with kids, that's not how I would prefer to spend my time currently. And so so don't feel like I'm setting a high bar. One thing I touched briefly upon last week that I wanted to talk a little bit more about was what's the goal of your creative endeavors. Your goal doesn't have to be perfection. We should always be doing everything we do to the best of our ability, but that doesn't mean that you have to have something perfect to be happy or pleased with what you've done. Especially when we're doing, you know, crafts in our spare time, if the goal is to enjoy what you're doing and relax, just to have fun, it might not even be a goal of having a finished product. It might just be that process. So it doesn't matter what the end looks like. If it's, I mean, it could be you're just coloring and you're going to use it for fire kindling at the end of it. And so it's the process that is the goal in that scenario. For me with this dress, the goal was to have something wearable, to use up fabric I already owned, and to have fun while I made it, and to kind of to try a new pattern and figure out, you know, what changes I need to make to the pattern for future dresses so that they'll fit perfectly. And so there are definitely many errors in this dress, and many little flaws that if I were seeking perfection, I would definitely, you know, this would be my first draft, and I would probably make 2 or 3 more dresses before I reached something that I considered, yes, this is spot on. But that's not what my goal with this dress was. And so it's a successful project, not because it's perfect, but because I had fun doing it. I created a wearable garment that has survived a couple days of being worn, playing with babies, having spit upon it, and being tossed in the wash. So it's already survived the washing machine once, and it didn't fall apart, so my seams must be okay. And so I just wanted to encourage you with that, where it's remember that the goal isn't always perfection when you're doing crafts or hobbies. A lot of times the goal is to enjoy what you're doing or to make something that's usable, not necessarily something that is absolutely perfect. And that's okay. That we will never reach absolute perfection. And if you are someone who you do want to get as close to perfection as you can, and that's what it's more enjoyable for you to try to get to reach that point where you're so precise and so exact that no one else can see that there's slight flaws in what you've made, then that's a good goal for you. Everyone is made differently, and so where you fall in that spectrum, just remember that don't look at pictures online of what someone else has done and then think that now you're a failure because what you did doesn't match up to the quality of what they did or how they chose colors or how they did a project. Your projects are different, you are different, and you have different goals, and so success will look different for you than it does for someone else. I will see you next week. I hope you have fun crafting and maybe come up with a few Valentine's Day crafts to do with your family. If you do anything fun, let me know.